What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 18 of the Absolute Strength Podcast. I'm here with Marc Lobliner from KyleHuntFitness.com. Marc, when was the first time we connected? It was what, 2012 maybe?
Oh, man, it was probably 2012 because I linked up with Chad in 2011, and then we're like, hey, let's do some stuff. And it's been, we've known each other a long time. I believe you were about 12 at the time.
Yeah, I think so.
I was in my 40s already, so I think we were good. It was one of those weird age-distance relationships that just worked out.
For sure. So if anybody is not familiar with your background, can you just give a quick little intro into who you are?
Okay, I'll give the Cliff Notes version. Basically, I started I started my professional career in the fitness industry. Sort of. It was in publishing at Weeder Publications, where I worked for Muscle Fitness, Flex, Muscle Fitness Hers. Started advertising, worked my way up. They were acquired by American Media, which owns the Inquirer, the Star, all those good shitty magazines. So, long story short, I was promoted within that company, that organization, did pretty well for myself. At that point, I decided to move on. I pretty much did all I wanted to do in publishing, so I founded In Stone with Sylvester Stallone. And really, that was my first foray into the sports supplement arena. The company, we launched it. I was the VP of marketing. It failed. I was fired well before it failed, so it was all good. Even though I was a founding shareholder, like, bro, you keep your shares. We just don't want you around. So yeah, they fired me. But the good news is they went bankrupt. After that, I founded Salvation. We're responsible for every time you go to a gym, anything other than Gatorade, anything colored in a water bottle, that's us. Intra-workout, branched amino acids during training. That's what we did. We brought intra-workout to the market. I was CEO at the time, popularized the category. And really, that was my calling card. That was kind of what I'm known for. Although most people probably don't realize every time they see the intra-workout category, yeah, that's my signature. But that's fine. As long as it's out there, and I think it's great technology that's still being used to this day. It's a multi-$100 million category. Hell, I'm all for it. I don't care if anybody knows I'm behind it. It's pretty awesome to be able to say that you created a category, because there's only like 10 categories.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not many actual supplement categories, and you...
Yes, so to be behind that is just freaking awesome. I mean, the team I had and what we did, it was an awesome time. So after that, I sold Salvation in 2011. I had a non-compete that said I can only sell supplements if it was a house brand. I was going to leave the industry, but I'm like, there's so much I can do now. And at that time, I knew there was some stuff going on with protein, but they were spiking with maltodextrin, so it was easy to test. Then these bastards got creative and started spiking with amino acids. So I thought that the protein market and other markets, I think there's still room to fix the industry, to bring ethical items to the industry, to bring ethics back to the industry. Not to say they were ever here, but I do think that we're in a better spot now than ever as far as testing and everything goes. So, that was my thing. I wanted to come out here. I could have taken a couple years off. I did have I did sell a company. I could have taken some time off. But my passion is basically customers, help people reach their goals, and putting out the best products. And that's what I'm able to do. With Tiger Fitness, it's even better because I'm not dealing with distributors. I'm dealing straight with the consumer, which is awesome for me. So that's kind of who I am. I have 3 kids. I live in the Midwest. I had to shovel a driveway yesterday. That's pretty much it.
Well, I'm familiar with the shoveling. I actually moved down to South Carolina now, so I've got out of the snow.
Yeah, I lived in North Carolina for 7 years when I owned Salvation. That was, I don't know, I'm not a Southerner, man. I like, I'm all for the South. I'm not saying I'll never live there, but it was time to go north. I had to go with the side that won the Civil War.
Yep.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go up here.
I'll tell you, well, because I'm from upstate New York and lived there for 24 years,
yeah.
And it was just time to get out of the cold, man.
Yeah, I think in everybody's life you got to figure out what you want to do. And sometimes, when you have kids, they like sledding. Like my kids before school this morning were outside on this little hill in our backyard and just, going nuts with the sled. And that's cool, right? Like, but when you're in your 30s, you're like, shit. But I have a service come, and if the snow gets above like 5 inches, I'm not touching a shovel.
Yeah, especially like the wet shit, and it's a pain in the ass. I'll tell you what though, it's not for me anyway. Maybe not for you, but tell me if this is kind of your thoughts as well. it's not even so much the snow that sucks. It's just the cold. That bitter cold is what gets me.
I'll never forget, like, there's two times. One was I was in Minnesota. I did a guest lecture at the University of Minnesota. And I just remember walking from a sushi restaurant to my car. I just wanted God to end my life right there. I'm like, God, just kill me. I don't want to feel this. And then I got in the car and took forever for the heater to kick in. It was a mess. And the next was when I was on that TV show American Grit. I remember standing out there. We just got through swimming through a frozen lake, for 45 minutes. Had to stand there doing some stupid shit. So we're out there for like 7 hours. I just remember that cold. And I'm like, that actually did the opposite. We're like, well, you're used to it. No. Now I hate cold even more. Now I don't even want to feel it. I just want to feel warm. I want to nuzzle up between two boobies. I don't want to feel cold.
American Grit, I wanted to ask you about that. How'd that come about?
Well, I mean, they found me. I guess they were looking for a bodybuilder who could speak and actually has some physical abilities. And being that I don't have them either, luckily everybody else sucks too. So, it was a good time. I mean, I met a lot of really good people, and I learned a lot about Hollywood. Would I ever do it again? No. I mean, it was a bit retarded for me. I mean, the thing is, when you're on a show like that, their goal is to make you uncomfortable. So, I mean, they kind of treated us like shit. And, I mean, I'm not saying I'm hoity-toity. Dude, I just got through on Black Friday, shipping out over 1,000 orders for myself. I'm not afraid to get dirty. I'll clean out drink dispensers in a public restroom after a trade show. You know it. You've seen me do this. I'm hardcore. I'm blue-collar. But, like, there's something about some peon in Hollywood who thinks they're better than you that I'm just like, I just want to punch you in your face. You don't even lift. So, that sounded so meat-headed. No, but it was an amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And again, I had some really lasting relationships come from that, and it showed me as well mentally that, some of those things, a 240-pound bodybuilder who I was a week from my pro show competing in that. So I literally competed and then went right on the show that Friday after the Saturday I competed. I was scaling 9-foot walls and doing shit that bodybuilders don't do, running for 5.2 miles with a log on my back and swimming across the frozen lake. And I think it just shows you that if you have that athletic, that never say die attitude, that you can really do just about anything. You might not look good doing it, but you can accomplish it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, how many weeks were you gone for that?
I was gone for a little over 3 weeks. The show was filmed for 6. Obviously, I didn't win. But you know what? I did some cool shit. Like, the first day you get there, and you're above this, like, I don't know how far down it was. All I know is if you couldn't see, like, the ground. Like, it was a huge bridge over a roaring river, and it's like, okay, you're rappelling down. I've never rappelled a day in my life. And I'm like, and I'm shaking, right? And they're like, are you nervous? I'm like, no, I'm not nervous. I'm 4% body fat, asshole. I just got back from a bodybuilder. Everybody else is a little bit padded. I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
I was so unprepared, dude. I grew up in L.A. Most people were wearing like clothes that made sense because the first day you bring your own clothes because they want to capture your personality, right?
Yeah.
Then they dress you. So I was wearing American flag tights and fucking LeBrons, and they're like, "Are you sure you're prepared for this?" I'm like, "They're LeBrons. If LeBron James can fucking shoot Jays in these, I can do this." Yeah, but let's just say that I was cold, but it was just, and John Cena's just a cool dude. Yeah, it was just it was an interesting experience that I wouldn't, again, what I've gotten from that experience, I wouldn't trade for the world.
Well, it was crazy. So you're gone for 3 weeks. How did you handle all your business obligations? Because you probably
I got a great team, man. I got a phenomenal team. I got such a great team. What I did is I filmed enough YouTubes to put up one every other day. So we were able to kind of skip that out. I told people straight up, I'm gone. I can't tell you where I'm going. And really, like, Matt and Chad and my team just stepped in, and they completely I'd like to say they didn't replace me. I'd like to think of myself as replaceable, but I'm replaceable by those guys. Those guys just did a great job. John and, everybody in that company stepped in and did something because the breadth of things I do is a lot because, I handle everything from PR to, the buyer role within the company. So I think that, to have me leave and not skip a beat, and it was right before Black Friday, which, as you know, is our busiest week of the year. I mean, those guys prepared for it. They did a phenomenal job, and I can't really say enough about them. It's not about, like you look at leadership, like look at who the president is, whatever. It's not about who the president is, who they surround themselves with. What you need to look at it is the cabinet. And right now I have the greatest cabinet in the history of government. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So taking a step back, how did you first get involved in lifting? Was it through sports? You played football, right, in high school?
Yeah, it was 100% football. There's two. Now I'm allowed to curse a little on this because this is exactly what I say every time. Basically there were two reasons I started training. That was football and pussy. I knew that football wouldn't last forever, but I knew that like a diamond, pussy is forever. So I started training because I was overweight. I wasn't overweight. I was 150 pounds, but I was a sloppy 150. You know what I mean? Like skinny fat.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I was training one day, and I was 13 years old. I'll never forget this. And Coach Carroll was our coach. He used to stand on a desk. We had a normal, I don't know what a normal weight room is. Probably a couple thousand square feet, little weight room. It wasn't a good school, good weight room.
Yeah.
At Culver High, and I mean, Coach Carroll was like, he looked at me, and he got my eyes. He said, "Hey, Lobliner." I'm like, "Yeah, I just got through warming the bench in the freshman team." And he's like, actually the JV team. I got through warming the bench. He goes, "If you don't lift weights, you ain't going to play a lick." He had a southern accent. And I remember I'm like, "Yeah, fuck you." And then I went home at night, and I thought to myself, I'm like, how the hell am I going to get into college if I don't get a scholarship for sports? Because I'd already figured out I wasn't good enough at baseball to make it. And so I went in the next day, and there was this man, Coach Miles. If you listen to any of my interviews or anybody I talk to, Coach Miles, I credit so much to. And he was a reverend. I'll just give you a visual of him. He was like a 6'4", 300-pound black guy, missing a couple teeth. Just a reverend, though. I mean, just the nicest, but very in your face. He'd get in trouble a few times for punching players. Amazing guy. And he was bench pressing, he was doing chest with a guy who became my friend. His name was Leon Hatton. He was an outside linebacker. And I remember I'm like, "I want to train with you guys. I want to go D1." And they laughed. Like, "Okay, hang with us on this lift, and you can train with us." I don't know how the fuck I did it, but I hung with them on that lift. And from that day on, we literally trained for 6 hours a day. We'd train with weights, and then we'd go do conditioning drills with the basketball team. And that's how I got involved in weight training.
Oh wow! So that was in high school then.
That was high school. I was a sophomore going into my junior year. So here's the funny thing. Sometimes when kids lift weights, they may gain. Sometimes they don't. I was one of those lucky bastards who went from 100 I was 170 pounds, and I literally, by the time the season started my junior year, which was a couple months later, probably about 4 months later, I was 240 pounds on the field.
Oh, wow. Holy shit.
And I didn't know what a steroid was. Because if I did, I would have taken them. I'm just playing. I mean, I had no idea what a steroid was.
So how much weight did you gain?
Oh, man, I gained, I gained 70 pounds total.
Damn. See, I was the opposite. When I got in lifting, I was tiny. I was wrestling 96 pounds as a sophomore in high school. Then I got lifting, and I took to lifting really well. Gained a whole bunch of strength, but I only gained 10 pounds.
Yeah. I blew up, and it was because Coach Miles just told me to eat. He was old school. He's like, just eat. So we used to go to my man Leon's house, his grandma's house down by we'd go eat. His grandma would cook us fried chicken. If you could guess, Leon was African American. and then we'd the next day we'd go to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles right there on Pico and La Brea. And we just M&M soul food. I basically gained weight as a young black man, as you could say. Well, I mean, it was what we had, fried chicken and chicken and waffles and shit like that. So I gained weight the dirtiest way possible, but it worked.
What was your training? What did the training look like?
It was ugly. We did everything from power lifts, a lot of power lifts. We did a lot of bro lifts. I mean, it was a football team. We trained the main lifts, but if you're in the gym for 3 hours, you're doing squats.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So we do our squats, we do our deadlifts, we do our power cleans, we do snatches, we do all that stuff. But then we bro it up, man. We do some curls, we do some tricep extensions. We had no idea what we were doing, and Coach Miles didn't care as long as we got our basics in.
Yeah.
So
from there, how did you transition from that style training to eventually getting involved in bodybuilding?
You know what? When I was playing football, I injured my knee. My playoff game, my senior year. I was heavily recruited, and I made a pivot. I threw a block off of me and just heard a pop. So that was, I think that was my meniscus and MCL. And then, so I'm like, cool. So I just gave up on going D1. Had a couple schools I turned down offers for, and I ended up going to Division III school, and I was making my comeback and training for it, and tore everything else in my knee when I was just training. So that was when I'm like, okay, well, this is over. So, as I was coming back, I still loved training. And there's a gentleman I met in the gym. His name was Mark, and he spent, I think, 6 years in the federal penitentiary. And so we decided to get into powerlifting. So he and I used to train every day, and, we had powerlifting split. And I ended up competing at the age of 19 in the APF, which was my first and last meet because, I blew up my asshole. So, yeah, just long story short, it wasn't pretty. So I'm like, you know what? I got some good numbers.
You did that in a meet?
I did that in the meet. Yeah, I did it the first lift because you start with squat, then you go bench, then deadlift, I believe it was. And squat, I got the weight, but the weight got me back,
I didn't know this story. This is unbelievable. That's funny. Shit.
Yeah, I got thing is, I didn't know that bench shirts existed. The canvas, they had the denim shirts. That was when they first came out. It was 1999. And I remember this kid I was going up against, and I was 19. He was 20 years. I forgot how it was laid out, but this motherfucker comes in. I'm wearing a singlet. I'm wearing a wrestling singlet, single ply. I didn't even know. I didn't know these things existed. And so I'm warming up. I put 375 on the bar, get a couple reps. And this guy comes in with this denim shirt that took him 40 minutes to put on. I'm like, why is he wearing a straight jacket? I had no idea what was going on. And I remember he put 405 on the bar, and he couldn't get it down. That's how strong his shirt was. He literally couldn't physically bring the weight down to his chest.
Yeah.
It was insane. And, but I did really well, and I enjoyed it. But it was powerlifting meets, if you've ever been to one, they're boring.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I was bored out of my mind. It was a well-put-together meet. Some really big lifters. I remember Jan Blakely was the guest lifter. It was a great meet, but I was like, this is not for me. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go the bodybuilding route.
So that's it. You blew your asshole out, and that's you weren't going powerlifting after that.
Yeah, I trained like a bodybuilder, but I did some modeling, a little bit of I was in Men's Fitness and a couple other magazines that were quasi-gay, and then I moved on. And when I was 26 years old, I had Cybation. Our sales weren't very well, and at that time we didn't have Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. We had vlogs. Remember, we had blogs. We had bodybuilding.com message boards. And so I just went and I documented my prep, and sales actually increased. So honestly, I never made any qualms about this, never lied. I started bodybuilding to promote my companies. Yeah. I didn't start it because I saw Rocky. I didn't start it because I had some love of physique. I started bodybuilding because I needed a way to grow my company. That's it. But I've, as you can tell, the competing part, I've always trained. You know what I mean? But the actual competing part, I've never been big on competing. I would never compete if there wasn't a business aspect to it, because why would I starve myself and put myself in an unhealthy state for no reason? I never understood that. I can't empathize with that.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. It's just the act of getting up on stage. It's just from a time perspective, so time commitment, and then destroys your body. It's so rough, and then just to get a little plastic trophy and have some people judge you, and I don't know.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not a big fan.
So what's your training look like right now?
Oh, it's a mess. I'm always doing some sort of collaboration or something. It's pretty. The one common thing is I split legs in two every week. It could vary. I can move something up, move something back. So, my quad day is pretty simple. I base everything on the big three still. I start with heavy squats. Heavy is relative. In squats, usually 3 to 4 plates. I'll rarely go over 5 plates.
Yeah.
So, for me, that's heavy. For a lot of people, like Birdman, my buddy from Tiger Fitness, he'll do 5 plates in one leg, and I look like a little bitch. So for me, I'll do, usually I like lower reps on the power lift, so I'll do like 10 sets of 3 or 10 sets of 5. And then I'll move on and I'll do some other kind of movement for legs, either a leg press kind of variation or a hack squat. Keep my sets. I keep my sets pretty high, around 30 to 40, so I do a lot of volume. Then I'll move on the next day. I'll do a bench, a chest and tricep. Chest is pretty simple. I mean, I'll either do a dumbbell or a barbell. The only way I'll barbell bench over 315 is with a slingshot because I keep injuring myself. So I just like it because it keeps my elbows in.
Yeah.
That's really why I use it. And I don't care if people call me a pussy or a cheater. I'm a pussy or a cheater without a torn pec. And I'm still making gains, and I'm good with that.
Is that what you've been injuring, your pec?
I've injured it a few times, and it's just there's a lot of reasons. Obviously, like, people come on and they'll critique my form all they want. I've trained with Marc, though. I've trained with Dr. Stu. Like, I've trained with some people who know form, and my form is correct for my body. For all deadlifts, squats, whatever. Everybody's different. If you look at Ed Cohn, the greatest powerlifter of all time, his squat was more of a good morning than a squat.
Yep.
So anybody who says that this is the only way to deadlift, this is the only way to squat, they really don't take in individual mechanics. And that's why I usually shoot back with shit I shouldn't say.
Well, yeah, everyone has a, different biomechanics, so it's really hard to say one specific form is going to be best for everyone because it's impossible. It's just not the way it goes.
It's not the way the cookie crumbles, and you could have pre-existing injuries or, like Big J, he got run over by a fucking Hummer or whatever, and so he can't come down all the way. So obviously his mechanics will be different. So then I'll do, so on chest day, I'll do my bench and I'll do my machine. Standard bro stuff, big lift, smaller lifts, rep range, usually lower on the big lifts, higher on the ancillary lifts, the accessory lifts. And, then I'll do a back day without deadlifts. Back day without deadlifts will be pull downs, rows, things like that. Again, same idea. On a back day, I don't really have a bread and butter movement. Because, I mean, you do have like rows and stuff. But on back day, I'm using a lot of machines because I still think deadlift is still the best back movement you can do. But I put back on a pull day. So I have a lower body push and a lower body pull day.
Okay.
So on lower body pull day, which will probably be the next day or the day after, depending on how I feel from back, I do deadlifts and hamstrings. It's a pretty simple day. Leg curls and deadlifts is pretty much what I do. And so then after I'm done with that, have a shoulder day, shoulder and tris, and I think that's it. I used to do arms on their own day because I have weak arms. But honestly, I don't think it ever did anything. I think it just made my joints hurt more in my elbows.
Yeah.
I mean, I think once you're done with back and chest, you've pretty much exhausted your tris. And I might be wrong, but I've been doing arms on their own for the last, 15 years. And my arms are still called a weak point. So I'm like, I don't even like that day. I'm just done doing it.
Yeah, I just hate doing arms in general. Like, just the act of doing it. I don't know. I've never been a fan. Really.
It's so boring.
It is.
It's just a boring. It's like there's nothing compound about it. There's nothing in that day that makes you feel like a man. No. Like you deadlift something heavy, you feel like a man. If you do a heavy curl, you still feel like a bitch.
Yeah, and if you're going too heavy, the form probably looks like shit. So it's
the form's terrible. The form is terrible, and I'm not gonna lie. I get so bored on arm day that I will ego lift.
Oh yeah, you have to.
I will ego lift arms. I don't even care. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm bored. I'm just trying to keep myself freaking entertained.
Yeah, there's a huge difference between going in and squatting, deadlifting, even benching, because, I mean, you can bench heavy,
Yes.
It's fun. I've always loved the bench, and there's a huge difference between doing those type movements and a tricep press down or a dumbbell curl.
Hold on, let me just press down. I feel really manly doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something that I just don't, I don't get off on it, so to speak. It's not my thing. It's something that I forced myself to do it and that could be why I didn't grow, because I didn't enjoy training arms. I don't know. Or it could be genetics, which people tend to, I like when people go, hey, your arms are weak. Have you ever tried hammer curls? No, dude, I've been training for 21 years. Never thought to rotate my wrist. So I've become quite cynical in my old age, I think.
Yeah. So
but yeah, that's kind of my split.
Yeah, so do you train essentially every movement twice, or every muscle group twice a week then, it seems like?
It seems like it. I think I do. It just depends. I mean, my days off aren't planned because I could have, X amount of events in a row, and then I like to have that oh shit something came up thing.
Yep.
Where it's like, oh, if I have something come up and I have to be somewhere, if I take a day off, it's not going to throw me off. So I'm only training 4 days a week. So I'll train 8, 9, 10 days in a row, and then when I need a day off, I know that okay, I think I deserve a day off.
Okay. Cool. So what's new on the supplement front with MTS Nutrition?
Well, we have this great thing is this new test booster, Insurgent, is coming out on the 14th, I believe we're launching it. And it's really cool because they're really cool patented ingredients, and I dose the living shit out of them. Very expensive to make, but everybody, I didn't tell them what it was. Like, hey, here's some pills, take it, tell me what happens. Just people who know I'm not going to kill them.
Yeah.
And every single male who took it had spontaneous erections.
Oh, wow.
Like, well, I'm no homo, but that's really awesome, right? So, but we, basically, I'm like, well, we need to get this going on. So we've tested a few people. We have actually tester bottles that went out, so we'll give you more feedback. But, yeah, it's a really exciting mix of ingredients between the Spilanthes and the Prima V. Prima V has been used in one product on the market, but it was by a brand that's not really hot anymore. I don't think enough people took it to give adequate feedback, and they probably underdosed it. So, proprietary blend, I can't really say for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm really, really, really excited about that. That has me going. There's just so many things that we're doing. We're actually launching the look. So redesigning the look. I believe every 2.5 to 3 years you need to do that to keep a brand fresh. The products will have slight adjustments. For example, Clash will be a little bit different. We're going to be just tinkering a little bit because technology in the last 2 years, there are certain ingredients that we have now, like teacrine, that we didn't have back when that product came out, which I think would be a great addition. I just put that in Drop Factor coming soon. Cool, patented, proven ingredients. Not bullshit isomers of some SARM. I'm talking like cool, awesome, validated, safe ingredients with grass and everything. So that's what really excites me right now. Obviously, the protein game is what we're known for. We'll keep coming out with cool flavors. We have a new flavor coming out in the next week. Just a seasonal flavor that we like to do to keep it fresh, keep it interesting, limited time flavor. Just keep innovating,
Exactly. Do you see any new ingredients in 2017 coming out that's going to be interesting or maybe has your attention?
Legal or illegal? I mean, it seems like everybody's playing that whole SARM friggin' quasi-legal like gray market. Let's go into the FDA breaks down the doors game. As far as ingredients, you know what? I really think that, again, I think teacrine will have a good burst onto the market. BHBs are interesting. I don't know if you know about those, but they basically make your body produce ketones.
Okay.
When in presence of glucose. So imagine if you could have the ketone. Ketones are great for brain energy.
Yep.
No one's going to argue that. I mean, they suck for fucking trying to get a set. But if you want your brain to operate, you want ketones.
Yep.
You want ketones. So what this allows you to do is get that brain energy. So what I'm interested in, the application that I'm trying to use it for would be operating in a glucose state, but utilizing the ketones. So you can get the benefits of both energy sources. So that's really exciting, and we're working on that right now. So I think BHBs, the problem is they're really expensive. I mean, they're fucking expensive. Yeah. So I'm just trying to find a dose, because I've seen anywhere from 2 to 12 grams. 12 grams, no one's buying. Yeah. 5 grams, you might be able to do it. So I'm just working on it, working on some pricing without sacrificing the source of the material. There's only one source I want to work with on those. The rest are just some backyard Chinese. The one I want is domestic. Okay. I want that U.S. booty. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't want any mail order Chinese bride. I want the real American bride right here. So that's going to cost more than, let's say, another company who comes out with the same thing, because I want quality, because I'm taking it myself. I don't want anybody to be a guinea pig for some crap that came over from some unidentified lab in China. This is not what I want to do. That's not how I want to run my body. And I take my own stuff. I want every product I make, aside from the stimulants, to be able to be taken by my children. And when my children are old enough, I want to be able to take those too, because they're safe and they're not going to friggin' whack them out. So that's how I design everything. So I'm really excited about those. I think teacrine will get a good boost on the market. I do think that with the results of Insurgent, I think more people will jump on the Prima V. Spilanthes bandwagon with the test boosting effects and the libido enhancing effects. So I think that we're opening up a whole new can of worms. I'm trying to stay fresh. I mean, every time there's a cool ingredient, there's also one thing that beta-alanine you want to take in 6 to 12 gram doses. We just can't because you itch your freaking eyeball, your skin off, right? Now, there is an ingredient that does inhibit the paracesis effect of beta-alanine that I'm looking into right now. So you can take a 10-gram dose of beta-alanine without itching. And that's something that excites me as well. So I'm keeping an eye open for that one too.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. The BHB is...
A lot of people don't see the product development side of things that I'm involved in. And that's really, formulating really cool products is, because you see me opine on things from politics to whatever on YouTube and this and that. But where I made my money was freaking formulating things.
Yeah.
The intra-workout category, like branch chains, that's me. So it's one of those where that's my true passion is that and midget porn. So...
Well, I think the cool thing about like the ingredient side is it's a little bit of art and science because you got to have like the foresight to almost see the application of these products before the actual public does. Like the BHB, like that's pretty interesting to me. I almost feel like that would be pretty applicable to people doing a low carb diet that's not necessarily a keto diet because
exactly.
A lot of times,
imagine if you get all the benefits of ketones without completely making your body hate you for not eating, cereal.
Yep.
You're able to eat a little bit of cereal, but you're not going to have the brain, because that's when I think people, when they're not able to fully commit, when you're not able to commit to keto, that's when people start getting issues. Because, okay, I'm low carb, but, they have, you're low carb, great, but you feel like crap because you don't have enough glucose and you're not producing ketones. I mean, I'm interested in the brain aspect of it. Bodybuilders like Mental Jewels, my product with Sean and Mike, I think that product's great, but you got to convince people that, look, it's about more than your body. You have to think, too.
Yep.
Your brain has to work, too. So, I mean, the beauty of ketones isn't necessarily, oh, my God, I'm going to get shredded and ripped. It's, hey, I can do the processes involving getting shredded and ripped, which is caloric deprivation, and not feel like I'm going to die.
Exactly.
So that's exciting to me, and I think it's a niche that goes beyond because imagine if every morning you woke up and, you have that brain fog and you take your BHB to mix with some other cool stuff. I mean, that's exciting to me. That's the kind of stuff that excites me when you can actually enhance somebody's life.
Well, too, a product like that would go beyond the fitness industry, too, or at least it has the potential to.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. I mean, look at the success of On It and other brain products. And even Mental Jewels is absolutely, doing really well right now. So, if you're able to parlay that, that's a huge thing.
So how's the family? How's everything going on that front?
That's good, man. My kids are, playing travel soccer and, Preston, he's getting big, so he'll be playing something. But he's a 3-year-old. But, my 8-year-old plays travel ball. My daughter she's on a whole new wavelength of discipline and commitment to sport. And
I see her training hard.
She gets 155 for 3 on deadlifts.
That's awesome.
Everybody.
It's incredible.
It's on her growth. I'm like, don't worry, she's not getting much taller than my height anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's they're just awesome. I mean, they just they're straight A students. They get it done. They get it. They understand, and they're good kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like just being a dad and seeing kids grow up. It's nuts.
Yeah, wait till your daughter's 10 and she has an attitude.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that.
You're like, oh shit, she's like a real little person,
Yeah. Well, even now
she's
2 now, and she's starting to develop that personality and talking more, and it's crazy.
That's when it gets weird. Wait till the pediatrician tells you within a year she's having a period. that'll change. That'll ruin your life. Like, don't tell me that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I don't want to know about that. I'm like, she's never getting her period. Damn it.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's like that's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, so it's a unique thing, but yeah, all my kids, they're all doing really good.
How's so you travel to Ohio during the week, and then you come home on the weekends mostly? Is that how that works?
Pretty much. Yeah, unless I'm in Vegas or some other place that I need to go.
How far you drive every week?
It's a 6-hour drive. I'm actually leaving right after this call.
Oh, that's not too bad then, I guess.
Yes,
Sucks,
it's the winter. So once it starts snowing, it gets interesting. The 65 is always a gamble because it's only 2 lanes.
Yep.
So you don't know what you're going to come across, and there's always construction. And I actually had to replace 3 wheels last 2 years because of potholes.
Oh, wow.
Because Indiana doesn't seem to give 2 fucks about your tires.
No. Seems like a lot of states like that.
Yeah, so it's honestly, it's fine. Have a couple phone calls, listen to some audiobooks.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. If you listen to some audiobooks or something.
Audiobooks. Yeah, it's I've listened to Mindset by Dweck, Unstoppable, From Good to Great From Good to Great to Unstoppable by George Trainer. Relentless is the name of the book. Grover.
Yep,
I've read some. I've listened to some great books a few times, so it's I definitely try to make the best of all my time.
Yeah, that's one of the things I try to do too. Just like the little things that, like when you're driving or doing a mindless task, you can put on an audiobook or even a podcast and at least be a little bit more productive.
Well, I always go by people like to be uninformed. 80% of the population doesn't know who the vice president is.
Yeah,
that's pretty sad. Hell, listen to Fox Business, and you can say, oh, it's right wing. What else am I going to listen to? CNN? I mean, I have nothing. I can't. There is no unbiased news source. I can't even say. It's like, so what do you do? I get hate. I'll be like, so what do you do in pastime? I listen to Fox Business. Oh, you're one of them. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just a guy who needs to hear some financial shit, and that's the only place I can go. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I got. We have no unbiased news networks, so I'm going to usually go with the one that I identify most with, and it's damn sure not MSNBC. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah.
So
when you think about it, I
just kind of go with what I can.
Yeah, most people don't. I mean, most people don't even read any books after high school, really. So just the thought.
People give up, man.
Yeah.
Once you start learning, you stop earning. You stop learning, you stop earning, and that's what people. Oh, why am I stuck where I'm at? Because your mindset, your knowledge base hasn't grown since you were 16 years old.
Yep.
That's why you're stuck in that same dead end job, and you don't have. And you don't have the fortitude to go out there and take what's yours, and that's what separates. I mean, it's not intelligence. If you look at the average income of Mensa, they're not really that great. I mean, I know a lot of really smart people who are really broke or who have really shitty. If you're looking at just generally speaking, who have a really tough time making it in life. And the reason is, you can have all the intellect in the world. You can develop the cure for cancer, but if you're not out there, you don't take the risk of going out there and telling people you have it, that's where you're going to fail. And I think a lot of people just get caught in the rut, and they get caught in comfort and complacency, and that's them. Their life is that. It's just, it might as well be over. I mean, they're going to be stuck in the same proverbial hamster wheel for the rest of their life.
I completely agree. Shit, man. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer. You got to get to Ohio, but
I got to hurry up and sit.
Yeah, for sure. Hurry up and sit in that car.
Well, I want to make sure if you call me in the car, you hear in the background, just the driving sounds. So it's kind of better this way.
For sure. So just one last thing. Where can people find you?
Well, TigerFitness.com. My social media is everything. We have the Tiger Fitness social media, but Marc Lobliner is everything. Marc Lobliner on Facebook for my fan page, Lobliner alone for my personal page, Marc Lobliner Instagram, Marc Lobliner Snapchat, Marc Lobliner. Oh, and YouTube is Tiger Fitness, though. The YouTube channel is Tiger Fitness. I do have a Lobliner YouTube, but I really don't do much on it. I'll put some opinion pieces up. Like, I had a video on abortion the other day. Just more of my thought processes.
I'll put all that in the show notes.
Aside from fitness. Because, at the end of the day, there's more to me than just fitness, and I kind of like to discuss things. I'm a guy who likes to talk. And unfortunately, a lot of stuff I like to talk about pisses people off. So
or
I don't get pissed off. I don't get pissed off at someone. Somebody likes, if I'm going to vote for one guy and another guy likes the other guy, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to want to know why you made that choice. I'm going to discuss it like a human being. But people get pissed off, like, you vote for Trump, you're a racist. I'm like, really? Everybody? So you're telling me a majority, well, not the popular vote thing. Okay, so let's say 50% of this country is racist. I don't believe that. I've been around. I've lived in North Carolina. I've lived in California and LA. I grew up in friggin' Inglewood. I live in Chicago now. I don't see that. I hate generalizations. People just tend to take things a little too black and white, so to speak. No pun intended.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see, and really, with any different topic too, there's always going to be a ton of gray area, and I don't know, just it's easy to think black and white.
You need one funny Trump story. It's like one of my buddies is a famous YouTuber. He happens to be a color. He goes, I'm like, yeah, somebody emailed me like, yeah, such and such said you're racist too, and I copied him on email. I'm like, yeah, just letting you know, bro. This guy told me that you think I'm a racist. Just letting you know that I'm a racist. Just being full disclosure. And so he just like, LOL. And so we hung out the other week, and he goes, shit, I voted for Trump. I wanted lower taxes. I was like, well, there you go. So I guess you didn't hate me anyway. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, so you can find me at any of those. Again, I'm easily accessible. So just shoot me an email. DMs and everything. I usually save those for dick pics. So
that's available too.
Yeah, dick pics are absolutely encouraged.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks, Mark, for doing this.
Likewise. I appreciate the call.
For sure. All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot. Have a good week. Bye-bye.